exercise all the rites, traditions, rituals. You're going to make sure they're all done perfectly. You are my professional religion dude, God says to Aaron. And you're the top of the heap. You're the CEO of this entire religious system. Moses is like the COO or something along the lines. He's the guy who's in charge of how it's all kind of working out practically. But Aaron is the chief priest. And his sons are the priests. And all the Levites are going to be working for God. All the other people in Aaron's extended family, they're all going to be working for God. And so when we see Aaron's sons, what we have to think about is that these are number 2 and 3 in the entire kingdom when it comes to people who should know how God works. Okay, these are the professionals. And so they take their censers, it says, these little bowls with a chain on them that you can swing around and swing incense around. They took their censers, put fire in them, added incense, and they offered unauthorized fire. That word unauthorized in the original language is literally strange. They offered weird fire, strange fire, unauthorized. It's unfamiliar. Whatever they were doing was somehow new. This is really kind of interesting. Because we like new things all the time. I like when someone says new and improved. It doesn't matter if it's improved, just so long as it's new, right? I'm gonna buy that thing. Except for 7-Up. They just recently changed the flavor of 7-Up, and I hate it. Take me back to the old, you know? I like the old, and I like the Mountain Dew throwback and all that stuff. But anyway, new in general is great. And so here's these guys, they have this idea, we're gonna do something new. The problem is God had already told them what he wanted them to do with incense. If you go backwards to Exodus chapter 30, if you want to flip there, you can. I'll tell you the verses. It's Exodus 30, beginning in verse 6, but I'm going to put them on the screen too so you have them here. This is what Exodus 30, beginning in verse 6, we're going to read a few sections of Exodus 30. God says, through Moses to Aaron, he says, put the altar in front of the curtain. This is a particular altar that he's just described to them. It's an altar of incense. Okay? Put that altar in front of the curtain that is before the ark of the testimony, before the atonement cover that is over the testimony, where I will meet with you. So in the ancient tabernacle and temple later on, there was this large area here, and then there was a curtain, and there was a small room back here called the holiest place. The most holy place, or the Holy of Holies. And the Ark of the Covenant was back here. And the cover of the Ark is where the high priest would put the blood of the sacrifice once a year so that God would forgive all the people their sins. That's the atonement cover, what it was called. So the altar goes in front of the curtain, which is in front of the Ark. Aaron must burn fragrant incense on the altar every morning when he tends the lamps. He must burn incense again when he lights the lamps at twilight. So incense will burn regularly before the Lord for the generations to come. Do not offer on this altar any other incense or any burnt offering or grain offering, and do not pour a drink offering on it. If you read a little farther, later on in the chapter, we get to this. Then the Lord said to Moses, take fragrant spices, gum resin, onycha, and galbanum, and pure frankincense. That's what we know. And all in equal amounts. And make a fragrant blend of incense, the work of a perfumer. It is to be salted and pure and sacred. Grind some of it to powder and place it in front of the testimony in the tent of meeting. This powder goes on that altar in front of that curtain, where I will meet with you again. It shall be most holy to you. Do not make any incense with this formula for yourselves. Consider it holy to the Lord. Whoever makes any like it to enjoy its fragrance must be cut off from his people. My kids have this book called, this set of DVDs called What's in the Bible. And in one of the passages where they're talking about Leviticus, they're talking about what holiness means. It says, this incense shall be most holy to you. And in that video, they do this profound thing. This puppet comes up with a magic flannel graph, and she says, so what's special about this stuff? Nothing. It's holy because God says this is the only purpose for it. It's set apart for him. It's completely and only for him. There's nothing magical about gum resin, onycha, and frankincense. There's nothing supernatural about that particular mixture. It's not some sort of potion. It's just, God says only for me. only for me, only on this table. In fact, let me specify the recipe. This is God's recipe, God's instructions on incense. The first one is burn it on the altar outside the most holy place. There we go. Then the next one is burn it twice a day. And the third one is burn the holy stuff, the holy incense. Don't burn normal incense, burn this special blend, this special kind of incense, and only use that incense for this purpose. Okay, so God gives a recipe. And now we come to Leviticus 10, where there's these two guys who are the number 2 and number 3 in the kingdom when it comes to professionally understanding God. And they say, okay, let's go ahead and do something. Did they put the wrong incense in the censer? I don't know. Was it really the wrong fire? The fire itself was wrong? Is that the problem? I don't know. What I do know is they got the recipe wrong, because God said, here you go, on the altar, not in a censer, twice a day, not whenever you want, and only this incense. Somehow they missed the boat. Somehow they did something wrong, and God wasn't too happy about it. Look what God does. Verse 2. So fire came out from the presence of the Lord and consumed them. And they died before the Lord. I can almost hear God saying, you bring me fire? No, I'll show you fire. You bring me that strange stuff, I'll give you the real stuff. Fire comes out and consumes them, and they're dead. Now, it seems a little overreaction to messing up a recipe, right? When I think of people mixing up a recipe and getting something wrong, 2 video clips came to my mind, and I decided I would show them to you today. So we're going to need the lights out, because I don't think this is going to show up all that well on the screen, but go ahead and hit it for us. When you make a mistake, you don't have to go there yet. When you make a mistake on a recipe, there's people around you who forgive you, you know? They're gonna try it even if it has raisins in it. They're gonna put at least one bite in their mouth because they don't want to offend you so much. So I mean, you look at that situation, you say Rachel did a terrible thing when she made that trifle. We even have an Englishman over here. You don't put meat in everything dessert-like, do you? See? She was just totally wrong. And so the whole concept of that fact that she makes this huge mistake, and then no one thinks they need to judge her. Right? Her heart's in the right place, so everybody's cool with it, you know? The one guy even likes it. But I just